Since most users live in their desktop tools when they're working with documents, Quickr actually extends its functionality to those desktop tools so that the user can access the common functions like adding documents, checking in and out documents, working with those documents, seeing different versions and such, without ever having to leave their Office tools like Microsoft Office, OpenDocs, or the Windows Explorer. And so the user works in a comfortable environment without having to overtly log into a portal in order to access that functionality. They can click on the Places icon on their desktop to actually see all their team places and all the documentation associated with those places. Now in this case, I've got to log into the server in order to access that information. It's actually, after login, it's going to present me the various team places that I have access to, and I've got a quick search that I can find the team place that we created in video 1 and worked with in video 2, and so I've added that to my team places, and now when I click on that I can see the 4 team places, and then open up the one we've been working with. I can see the folder structure and all the files associated with that folder and start to work with them. If I bring up the Windows Explorer, I have the same places. And again, if I expand, I can see my 14 places and actually expand the one we've been working with, and again see all the files associated with that. Now, one of the nice things is I can drag and drop documents from my file system or desktop and load them directly into the repository. It will prompt me based on the behavior that I've set up in my preferences what I want to actually do with that document. I could just save it as a private working draft, or in this case I'm going to actually check in those documents and publish them to the public site for other members to access. And there's a little checkbox that allows me to actually apply these choices to all the various files that I've dragged and dropped, so I don't have to repeat answering each of these questions. Now I can also assign additional properties or metadata that would be associated with those documents. Those documents are being stored in the repository on the server, but they're also now reflected in my Windows Explorer. And I can right click on any document and it will reveal the functions that I can take. These are the same functions that I could use if I signed on to the internet portal. What I'm going to do here is actually check out this particular product brochure on Mitsubishi, and now it will show me a little key lock showing that it's been checked out. So if I go to the portal site, into the product selections folder, I should see not one but 3 different files, the 2 that I just added, plus I see the existing file that I just checked out that has the little key lock. Let's go ahead and just check that back in so that the members can to work with that document as well if they need to edit it. So very easy, again, to access functionality without having to go on to the portal itself. I can also get access to all the other functionalities, like seeing the properties, seeing what different versions are available, and such. If I go to my Office suite, we will have access to the functions either from the drop-down menus or from icons, and these are some of the functions that I have access to. The ones that are grayed out obviously are not available, and it's not available in this case because this particular document has not been stored in the repository. So you couldn't check it out, for example, from the repository. So just a few examples, but all the functionality that is applicable to this document would be revealed to me within Office itself without having to leave it. Now, a very important concept is you can set preferences for the type of behavior that mimics the way you work. So for example, for Office, I can set the behavior such that when I close a document, I could go ahead and check in that document and publish it. Or I might choose to keep it locked or checked out and not publish the updates. In my case, I've set all my behavior to prompt me. If I had selected one of the other two options, it would automatically perform that behavior for me without prompting me. So you can see in the second item here, when I do a document check-in, I could have it automatically close the document or leave the document open when I check it in. This is also available for all the other desktop applications that have preferences associated with them, so you can have different behaviors for different applications. One of the nice things is this automates the behavior, again, based on how you work. There's also some general settings so that when I open a particular document, do I want to check it out automatically or again be prompted? Here's the second area. Again, the drop down menu is in the icons, accessing all the functionality. I'm going to actually add this document to the market analysis folder, and so I've selected the folder, and you notice here that I'm choosing to accept the default document type, but I could change the document type to like the workflow document type that we created in the previous video, so that it would have to go through either a serial or parallel approval before it was actually published. I'll just go ahead and add this document to the market analysis folder. It's going to prompt me again for description information. I can change the title. It's going to pick the title up from the file name. Assess and add properties or metadata. Because of the document type I've chosen, which is the default, it's going to check this in as a private working draft. If it had been a different type of document type, I would have another option to check it in and actually publish it. Now when I go back to the market analysis folder, we'll not see that particular document because again it was a working draft. So if I go to my views of my working drafts, I will find that document and click the check-in button so that all the members that have access to that folder will be able to see the document, download it, work with it, make changes as appropriate. Now you can create versions, so I'm going to create a new version of the document. So the nice thing is it keeps all those versions, prior versions, so that if you need to go back and review any particular version, maybe before a change was made, you can see that and maybe adapt the current document. Now I can also utilize the repository directly from in my Outlook client. I am going to actually take this particular email that I received in my inbox and I'm going to add it to a new folder that I'm creating here on the fly for all my saved emails. Right now obviously there's nothing there, but as soon as I click the add, then it will actually add this particular email to that repository. It's going to pick up the subject line and use it as the title for this document. Again, I can provide descriptive information and will store the document as a private draft, which in this case is what I want. Also, when I send file attachments to other users, that's going to put a load on the network and the mail servers if I literally attach the file and mail it to a group of individuals. smarter way of doing it is actually sending a document link so that that file is not going across the wire and it's not impacting the mail server. By putting a link here, it's going to have a single copy in a repository, and so as people are doing replies and forwards and such, they'll always be able to access the latest copy of that particular file in the repository. Now, the one thing that we do differently, up to this point, you're saying it's just standard operating procedure for the Outlook client. But at the point where I actually send the document based on the preferences that I have specified, it actually prompted me, do I want to send it as a normal file, or do I want to store that file in the repository of one of my team places? So here I'm selecting what team place location I want to save this particular document in, and so I'm going to put it in my saved email folder. And you can see now the first option would be the normal operation of mail that we've done for years, just send the file with the email. The second choice here, save and send links, will actually do what I've been talking about in terms of putting that document in the repository and replacing that file attachment with a link. I could have had this automatically done again without prompting, but I chose in my preferences to be prompting. Again, it asks me if I want to change the document type for workflow reasons and add properties or metadata. If I go and look at my sent documents, that file that I just sent, if I click the document name, you'll see that it actually goes out to the repository to retrieve that document, ask me whether I want to read it or actually check it out for editing purposes. And there we have the test document. Now if I go to the portal, I will actually see that particular document in the repository. Now the email that I saved earlier is actually in my working drafts. So if I go to my working drafts, and now after contemplation I'm ready to actually publish that particular document or email out to the members of this team place. So I just completed that. Now I've exposed that so that people can read that email by just going down to the preview tab for that particular document.